Okay, so this is the review for test 2-1. So this will be the first test for the second quarter. All right, so the first one says, find the solution, round any decimals to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we have a quadratic and a linear here. So I'm not asking you to do it algebraically. So if I'm not asking you to do it algebraically, then just plug it into the calculator. All right, so you're gonna plug this into y equals, so y equals negative x squared plus 6x minus 3. And then the linear, you have to put that in y equals form. All right, so let's see here. We're gonna put the quadratic in, so y equals negative x squared plus 6x minus 3. Plug that into y equals. Put the linear into y equals form. So we have to minus x over. So y is equal to negative x plus 4. All right, so you're going to plug them both into y equals and graph them. All right, so the parabola looks like this. And then the line looks something like this. Okay. So then now you have them both in the calculator. We're looking for the points of intersection. So hit second trace. Number 5, it says intersect. Get the cursor. So your cursor is probably blinking someplace. Get it close to the point. Hit enter. Okay, so the cursor will automatically jump to the line. So all you have to do is hit enter, so because it should be right by the point. And then you want to guess what point that is. So just hit enter. And then that point comes out to be, we're rounding to the nearest tenth because that's the directions, 1.2, comma, 2.8. All right, now we have to find the point on the other side. So do second trace, number 5. Now move the cursor over here to the other side. Hit enter. It automatically jumps to the line, so just hit enter. And you want to guess what point that is. And that comes out to be 5.8, comma, negative 1.8. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. Okay, so number 2 says to describe the transformation from f of x. All right, so A is y equals f of x minus 1. So all this is, remember, when we add and subtract from x, it'll go left or right. It goes opposite the way you think it would go. And when we add and subtract from y, it's going to go up and down. All right, so let's take a look at the first one. It's in function notation, so you cannot plug it into your calculator because I didn't tell you what f of x is. All right, so notice I'm minusing 1 from x. That means that is going to either go left or right. If you're minusing, it's going to actually go to the right 1 unit. Okay? All right, next, B. We have 2. That means there's a dilation. F of x plus 3, and then minus 7. So I'm going to start with the inside first because that's what PEMDAS says to do, is to do parentheses first. So the plus 3 to x will go left or right. It's plus 3, so it's actually going to go to the left 3. Now, once we get on the outside, the next thing we do is we do the multiply. So a multiply of 2 would be a stretch of 2. And then the minus 7 would be down 7. Okay, let's look at 2C. Okay, so 2C says on the graph to the right, sketch the transformation. All right, so here's the sketch over here on the right. All right, and then I am going to do to the right. No, sorry, it's plus 2, so it's to the left 2 and then up 3. So left 2, right? So I'm going to go to the left 2 because it's plus 2. And then the plus 3 is going to be up 3. All right, so I'm going to find some points here. So I'm going to take this point right here. I'm going to go to the left 2 and up 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm going to take this point here. Left 2, 1, 2, up 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to take this point here, left 2, up 3. So I'm just counting, taking the points that I can grab and moving them to the left 2 and up 3. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab this one here. Left 2, up 3 is right there. Okay, so this graph will look like this once we move it. Hopefully your graph is a little bit better than mine. Okay, mine's just a little bit harder because I'm on the iPad here. Okay, and so next it says show how the points from y equals g of x maps to y equals g of x plus 2 plus 3. Okay, so let's see here. We had one of the points was 0, 0. So I'm going to write that up here, 0, 0. And then we had a point of 1, 4 I moved. I'm just writing down the points that I moved. And 1, 2, 3, 0. And 4, comma, 4. All right, and then I mapped them to my new points. All right, so 0 went, remember 0 went left 2, up 3. So that went to negative 2. I don't really like this green color. I'm going to change this green color. I feel like the green is hard to see. All right, so 0, 0 went left 2, so that's negative 2. And then up 3, so we went 1, 2, 3, so that's 3. So we went negative 2, positive 3. All right, and then 1, 4 went left 2, so that's negative 1. And then up 3, 7. All right, and then we had 3, 0 went left 2, so that's 1, and up 3, so that's 3. And then 4, 4 went left 2, so that's 2, then up 3, 7. And you could see that if you look here, right, if I take 0, 0 and I go left 2, I'm minusing 2, and I'm going up 3, I'm adding 3. Right, I'm minusing 2 and I'm adding 3. Right, so 0 minus 2 is negative 2. 0 plus 3 is 3. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. 4 plus 3 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. And 0 minus 3 plus 3 is 3. 4 minus 2 is 2. And 4 plus 3 is 7. All right, so let's take a look at number 3. Okay, so number 3 says solve algebraically in simplest a plus bi form. Okay, so algebraically means obviously you have to do it algebra, which means you can't graph it, you can't guess and check. All right, now in simplest a plus bi form, that's a giveaway that you obviously can't factor it. You're gonna have to either use your quadratic formula or complete the square. All right, so it doesn't really matter which process you use. And since it says a plus bi form, you know you're going to have to get a negative under the radical because that's how you get an I. All right, so we have 2x squared plus 8x plus 12 is equal to 0. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to complete the square. All right, so the first thing is we have to have a leading coefficient of a 1, so I'm going to divide everything by 2. It doesn't mean you have to complete the square. You could use a quadratic formula. But this is a nice problem to complete the square. All right, and the next thing you have to do when you complete the square is you have to minus the 6. So you get x squared plus 4x equals negative 6. All right, so now we're ready to complete the square. So I'm going to do half of b, so half of 4 is 2. Square it is 4. Add that to both sides. We're going to add it here and over here. So we get x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals negative 6 plus 4. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is clean this up. I get negative 2. All right, and then remember, we get our parentheses squared. Remember, we get 2 of the same parentheses, so I'm just going to write it with a square. So it's going to be an x. And remember, the number that goes inside the parentheses is the number that we got when we did half of b. So it's the number we squared, which is positive 2. All right, now I want to get rid of the square by square rooting both sides. So now I get x plus 2 equals, don't forget it's plus minus, because we have a square root. The negative under the radical becomes an I, and then we cannot square root 2. It's not a perfect square, and we cannot simplify it. So then it's just I, the square root of 2. All right, and then we want to get it in y equals form, so minus 2. And remember, that goes in front of the plus minus. So x equals negative 2 plus minus I, the square root of 2. If you wrote it negative 2 plus minus the square root of 2i, same thing. As long as you have the a first and then the bi second. Okay? All right, let's take a look at number 4. Okay, so number 4 is the systems of equations. All right, so number 4a is a quadratic and a quadratic. And B is a circle and a linear. All right, so let's start with A. So let me write down A. All right, so we have for A, we have f of x equals 3x squared plus 2x minus 8. And g of x is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 10. All right, so they're both y equals, correct, right? This is a y equals y equals. They're both equal y, so just set them equal to each other. So remember, we're looking for where they intersect, but we have to do it algebraically, not on the graph. All right, so I set them equal to each other. Now, it is a quadratic. I have to move everything over to the left. So I'm going to minus x squared minus 2x minus 10. Minus x squared minus 2x minus 10. So I get 2x squared. Oh, this is nice. That cancels. And I get negative 18 equals 0. All right, so now I'm going to solve the quadratic. So there is actually a GCF. The GCF is 2 times x squared minus 9. And now I'm going to factor the x squared minus 9. That's dots. So that's x plus 3, x minus 3 equals 0. All right, and then we'll do the t-chart. Don't do anything with the 2 over here because there's no x. We get x equals negative 3 and x equals positive 3. All right, so the next thing you have to do, remember, is after you get your x values, you have to get your 2 y values. All right, so I'm going to plug it into the g of x because that one just looks easier. So I'm going to plug it into y equals. All right, so I'm plugging in negative 3. So negative 3 squared plus 2 times negative 3 plus 10. All right, so just plug this whole thing into your calculator at one time, and you get y is equal to 13. All right, so we have one of the solutions. So write down the word solution. One of them is negative 3 comma 13. All right, now we have to get the other one. So now we have to plug in 3. All right, so y equals 3 squared plus 2 times 3 plus 10. All right, so just plug that in your calculator all at one time. And we get y is equal to 25. So we have 3 comma 25. And then obviously you can check this on the calculator if you want, but I do want to go over with if something says to justify the solutions. Justify the solutions is to do an algebraic check, okay? So I'm going to do that over here on the side. So you're going to take each value, each solution, and I'm going to start with negative 313, and you plug it in to each equation and make sure that it works. All right, so I'm going to plug this into the f of x first. So it's 13 equals 3 times negative 3 squared minus 2 times negative 3 minus 8. And you'll get 13 equals 13, and that checks. And then you're going to plug it into G. So it's 13 equals negative 3 squared plus 2 times negative 3 plus 10. And you get 13 equals 13. Just plug it in your calculator and check it. All right, and then you have to check the other solution. So now you're going to try 325. So justify the solution is just showing your work for your checks, okay? You really could just plug it all into your calculator once you plug in the values in for your x and y. So now I'm going to plug in 25 for y, and then it'll be 3 times 3 squared plus 2 times 3 minus 8. Just plug that in your calculator. You get 25 equals 25. That checks. And then you're going to check the other one. 25 equals 3 squared plus 2 times 3 plus 10. Just plug it in your calculator. 25 equals 25. That checks. And remember, that's called justifying the solution. It's just showing your checks. All right, so let's take a look at 4B. Okay, for this system here, we have a circle and then we have our line. So you have to put the line, must put the line in y equals form. So I'm going to add 3. So y equals x plus 3. All right, now you're going to take the y equals x plus 3 and substitute it in for the y here. So I didn't do anything to the x parentheses. Now, obviously, if something is easier to put in an x equals form, then you could put it in x equals form, then you just plug it in for x. So I'm plugging this in for the y. X plus 3 is the y value, and then I have the minus 2. Still squared equals 9. I'm going to clean up the parentheses. So we have x plus 4 squared plus x plus 1 squared equals 9. All right, so now I need to double distribute. All right, so we have x plus 4 times x plus 4. And we have x plus 1 times x plus 1 equals 9. All right, so I'm going to double distribute. We get x squared plus 4x plus 16. Double distribute the x plus 1s. X squared plus 1x plus 1x plus 1 equals 9. All right, now we have to clean this up. All right, we have x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. 4x plus 4x is 8x. Plus 1x is 9x. Plus another 1x is 10x. 16 plus 1 is 17. Equals 9. All right, so now I'm going to get it to equal 0. So we have 2x squared plus 10x minus the 9 over, and we get plus 8 equals 0. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we have to solve this. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so we have the 2x squared plus 10x plus 8 equals 0. Sorry, I had to clean up the screen there. All right, so now I'm going to solve this. So I noticed there was a GCF. I'm going to factor. There's a GCF. GCF is 2. All right, now I'm going to do master product. All right, so I multiply the first times the last, and I get positive 4x squared. So I'm going to use what multiplies to 4 and adds to 5 is 4x and 1x. They have to be the same signs. They have to be both be plus to get the 5x. Bring down the ends. All right, now go into factor by grouping. So the GCF of the first group is x times x plus 4. The GCF of the second group would be positive 1 times x plus 4. So then my factors are going to be x plus 1 and x plus 4. And don't forget, we did have that 2 at the beginning. Not that that's going to matter. But T-chart, nothing happens with the 2 because there's no x there. In the middle, I get x equals negative 1 and x is equal to negative 4. All right, now remember, you have to plug this in and get your y values. Now, I'm going to plug it into the linear. The linear is the easier of the two equations. So I'm going to plug it into y equals x plus 3. So plug in -1. So y equals -1 plus 3, which is 2. So y equals 2. So there's one solution, -1 comma 2. Now you're going to plug in the -4, y equals x plus 3. Plug in -4, y equals -4 plus 3. So y is equal to -1. So we get -4 comma -1. So those would be your solutions. And obviously, if it says to justify the solutions, you have two equations. You have to plug this one into each equation, show it works. Plug this one into each equation, show it works. So you would have 4 checks. Okay, so let's clean this up and let's take a look at number 5, because I believe that was number 4. Okay, so number 5 is the graphing. Graphing using multiplicity and end behavior. And I want you to label the y-intercept D. Okay, so these are already in factored form. Notice these are the ones that have the variables. Remember, we spent some time on that. And these ones here have your numbers. Okay, so let me just minimize this and I'll write the first one down. I'm going to write A. All right, so 5A. All right, that's f of x equals x minus 2 cubed x plus 1 squared. All right, so it's already factored, so I just have to make my t-chart, get my zeros. All right, so I get x equals 2 and x equals -1. Now I want the multiplicity. All right, remember, so it's either going to be even tangent or it's odd cross. All right, remember, we look at the exponent. So for x equals 2, the exponent, go to the factor, x minus 2. The exponent is 3, so that's odd. So odd is cross. So odd cross. All right, go to x is equal to -1. The factor is x plus 1. The exponent is a 2, so that's even tangent. All right, so now remember we want to get the end behavior so we know which way the ends are going to go. So you need the degree of the polynomial. So remember, if it's in factored form, we just add the exponents. So we have a 2 and a 3. That's 5. So the degree is 5. It's odd. So that means the ends go in different directions. So now we need the leading coefficient. That's a +1. So that means it's going to look like this on the ends. All right, so now draw your axes. X, Y. Plot your points. So we have -1, 1, 2 here. Plot your points. Remember, it's going to be up, left, upright, sorry, down, left. And remember I said always go through the points before you start graphing. So for -1, it's going to be tangent. It's going to bounce and it's going to cross. Bounce, cross, tangent, cross. Okay, so my graph is going to look like this. So remember, it's going to come up from down on the left. It's going to bounce down and come back up and cross. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. Oh, and I forgot we have to I said to label the y-intercept D. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so here is B. We have f of x equals -x times x minus 4 cubed. All right, so remember, the first thing is to find the zeros, t-chart. We have x equals 0. and x equals 4. So remember, those are the zeros. Now we want the multiplicity. So for x equals 0, look at the exponent. There is no exponent there. Well, there actually is. It's really a 1. So 1 is odd, and that crosses. So odd cross. Go to x equals 4. The exponent is just 3, so that's odd cross. All right, now we need the degree of the polynomial. So the degree is, remember, add the exponents. So I have 3 and a 1, that's 4. So it's even. That means the ends are either going to go up, up, or it'll go down, down. Look at the leading coefficient. The leading coefficient here is a -1. So leading coefficient is negative. That means it's going to go down, down. All right, so let's start graphing. All right, so we have 0 is one of the zeros, and 4. One, two, three, 4. There's the other 0. Remember, it's going to be a down, down graph. And notice that we are cross and cross. So it's going to be cross, 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 cross. All right, so the graph is going to look like this. It's going to come up from down here, cross, and then cross on the way back down that way. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. Now we're going to get into the letters. Okay, so I'm going to find all the zeros first. So we have quite a few of them. All right, on the left here I have x equals 0. Then I have x equals a, x equals b, and x equals -c. Now we want the multiplicity. So for x equals 0, the exponent is a 2, so that's even tangent. For x equals a, the exponent is a 1, so that's odd cross. For x equals b, the exponent is a 3, that's odd cross. And for x equals -c, the exponent is a 2, so that's even tangent. Okay, so you need the degree of the polynomial. So remember, add the exponents. We have 2 and 3 is 5, 1 is 6, and then we have 7, 8 here for the last 2. All right, so we have a degree of 8. So that means it's either going to be up, up, or down, down, because it's an even degree. So the leading coefficient, there's a +1 here, so leading coefficient is +1. So that means my ends are going to be up, up. Okay, let's start graphing. All right, so we have 0. I have -c, so it's going to be on the left of the x-axis, and then +a and +b, that'll be on the right side of the x-axis. Okay, plot your zeros. It's going to be an up, up graph, up, up. Okay, go through each point. So -c is tangent, so we're going to be tangent, tangent, cross, cross. All right, tangent, tangent, cross, cross. Tangent, tangent, cross, cross. Tangent, tangent, cross, cross. Okay, so coming from up here in quadrant 2, so it's going to come down and tangent, come back down tangent, come back down cross, come back up and cross. So it kind of looks like that. All right, and let's take a look at the last one. Oh, and I forgot, label the y-intercept, which is actually here at 0. That would be labeled D. All right, let's take a look at the last one. Okay, so here is D. All right, again, we're going to find all the zeros first. So I get x equals -a, x equals b, and x equals c. Now get all the multiplicities. All right, for x equals -a, for x equals -a, the exponent is a 1. So that means it's odd cross. For x equals b, the exponent is a 2, so that's even tangent. And for x equals c, the exponent is a 2. So again, that's even tangent. Okay, get the degree of the equation. So the degree is, add the exponents, it's a degree 5. So it's odd. So that means it goes in different directions. Okay, the leading coefficient, I see a negative there, is -1. So that means it's going to be down. Okay, so let's get our zeros. So we have negative a. We don't have a 0 in the middle. We have positive b and positive c. Plot the zeros. Okay, it's going to be up, left, down, right, the graph. Go through your zeros here. So negative a is going to cross and tangent, tangent. Cross, tangent, tangent. Cross, tangent, tangent. Okay, coming from up here on the top left. So we have to cross, tangent, tangent. And then we have to up, down, down. And label the y-intercept a D. All right, let's take a look at number 6. Okay, so number 6 is just matching. It's match the equation to the appropriate graph. So we just have to match these. Now, you can use the multiplicity. You could just plug them into the calculator. I would just plug them into the calculator. So plug A into the calculator. Okay, so plug A into y equals into the calculator. Just look at the graph and see which one it matches up to. All right, so it does match up to this one right here. So this is A. Okay, and notice the 0 is at x equals 5 and x equals -3. Okay, so that's right here. And right here, notice at 5, it's tangent, which makes sense because the exponent is a 2. And here it crosses, the exponent is a 1. All right, plug in B. Okay, so when you plug in B, right, look at the calculator. It's this one over here. It has like a little squiggly there in the middle. And look at the zeros. Look at the zeros here. We have x equals 0, x equals 6, x equals -1. Notice the -1 should be tangent. Okay, so that's what's going on right here. Crosses at 6 and crosses here over here at 0. So this one is B. And then obviously this one here has to be C. But let's just check it. Let's plug it into y equals and make sure. Okay, so yep, this one is definitely C. I plugged it into the calculator, plugged it into y equals, and hopefully that should make sense. We got x is equal to -2. It's tangent, and x is equal to -4, and that crosses, which is here and there. Okay, so let's take a look at number 7. Okay, so number 7 is using the functions f of x, g of x, and h of x. F of x is a graph. H of x is the equation, and g of x is a table of values, and h of x is an equation. Remember, we're looking in the interval from -1 to 3. Remember those intervals? That interval represents your x values. Remember, those are your x values. Okay? And we're looking to find the average rate of change. Remember, average rate of change is your slope. I'm just going to write that formula right down over here. Slope average rate of change is y minus y over x minus x. All right, so let's do the graph here. So I have -1 is one of the x values, and 3 is the other x value. Now you got to get the y value. So look on your graph. When x is -1, so here's x is -1, the y value is right here at 11. So -1 is 11. And when x is 3, 1, 2, 3, it's right here. It's kind of hard, but it is actually right here, which is at 7. I know it's kind of tight in there with the graph, but it is there at 7. You do have that tightness going on in there with the graph, like right in here, it's kind of hard to see which one. Just get right there in the middle, okay? All right, so your average rate of change is going to be 7 minus 11 over 3 minus negative 1. So 7 minus negative 11, or you could just use your alpha y equals key. And you get negative 1. All right, now for the table, I'm going to go to the table next over here. All right, so just look at your table. So we're using negative 1, negative 3, and 3, negative 12. All right, so I'm going to put that right here. Negative 1, negative 3, and 3, negative 12. All right, so your average rate of change is going to be negative 12 minus negative 3 over 3 minus negative 1. Okay, plug that into your calculator. Okay, you get negative 2.25. I'm going to put, sorry, kind of ran out of room. So negative 2.25. Okay, and then for h of x, right, you're going to have to plug this into y equals and get your values that way. Remember, we have x is negative 1 and x is 3. So you could just look in the table of values. All right, so when x is negative 1, the y value is negative 3. And when x is 3, the y value is 1. All right, so your average rate of change is going to be 1 minus negative 3 over 3 minus negative 1. Okay, plug that into your calculator. All right, so we actually get 1. All right, so now I did have one here in order from least to greatest, the smallest to largest. Now, this just happened to work out like this. Remember, when we compare, we're not really comparing the positives and the negatives. Positives and negatives just means whether or not the rate is going up or down, okay? So this means this is just going down faster than this is going up or this is going down. So your smallest average rate of change, these are actually the same, so I'm just going to put them next to each other. Because it's from least to greatest. So the smallest would be both H and F. So it wouldn't matter which one you put first. And then G of X would be actually your largest average rate of change. Even though, remember, it is smaller, the actual number, right, negative 2.25, is actually smaller than these numbers. But when we're talking about rate of change, the positive and negatives just tell you which way the rate is going, whether it's going down or up. So this is actually going down faster than these are going either up or down. Okay, so that's it. And happy studying. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.